Got your wish.
Oh, you got a house?
Oh, no, you're right on time. My God. The meeting. I got to just start it off.
My apologies. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
For me.
Alice, please.
So thanks, everybody. I appreciate your indulgence. We've got one person on the list here tonight. It looks like Sally. Andy, you looking to speak as well, or are you a casual observer tonight? Sounds good. So as we typically do, we parse it out, but we give you no more than 10 minutes. So yeah, I know. All kinds of time for days.
If I might, I had a resident contact me, wanted to connect virtually with a number of things. I don't know that she's going to be able to do that.
Okay.
If I might just be able to get like a minute to just kind of
Absolutely.
forward her concerns and questions
Yes.
on her behalf, because we had a lengthy conversation about
I think that would be very appropriate. We'll make sure that's on the list as well. Great. Thank you. Good evening, Sally. Welcome.
I have one question. Can officers, anyone, for any reason, under police surveillance?
I don't know the answer to that. I believe the notion of police surveillance comes from command staff. I don't think individual officers can do that, but I don't know that for certain.
Okay, so it would come from command staff, from your just, that would seem reasonable.
Is there really any?
I would ask the question if you're suggesting that
Well, that was going to be my next question. Yes, I was just.
your name being in the report is the same as police surveillance, because I don't think that's the same thing.
Yeah, I do think it is the same thing. You know, somebody is driving into the neighborhood with my name in a report. And how does it get into a report? It just doesn't show up into a report. It's not like, you know, I could say to the police officer, I could call him on a personal line and go, yeah, could you, you know, my neighbor's bothering me. Could you just come and check that neighbor out for me? You know, and then the police putting it, my neighbor's name in a report and driving into the area. I mean, it's not, it's more official to get your name in a CAD report. And just speaking to what he had said.
Well, but my next question was going to be, because I know exactly where you're going with it, Sally. And no, as Jamie said, I don't think that this does not constitute police surveillance. I think police surveillance, is decisions made at the command staff level. And your name being in, they weren't even police reports, they were
A CAD.
roll call notes is not the same as.
It's not roll call notes, it's a CAD report, CAD. It's an
Computer-aided dispatch is what CAD stands for.
Yeah, and so for the name to get there, it has to get there in some way it gets there. It doesn't just show up there. There's some reason it's in, my name is in a report.
You're right, and you asked that question, and I asked that question of the chief, and the chief asked the question of the officers, and no one could recall the details of the specifics behind all that. They could not. It was what, 9 years ago now, so they did not. We asked that question, we answered that question, and don't know what else we can do. I mean, they don't recall.
5 years ago, but I had started asking for an internal affairs investigation. I had started inquiring about this much earlier than 5 years. I mean, it's like I do a lot of work before I come here in front of the council. It's not like I have, you know, an immediate complaint and come right in here. I do background work. I do emails back and forth. I try to get someone to engage. I want to know what had happened. Why was my name in there? And there should be some official reason. For instance, police officers can't just look up somebody's phone number and see whose it is. Or for instance, if I had somebody parked in my driveway, they can't run the plate. They can run the plate if there's a reason, if there's a legal reason to run the plate. That would be the same with my name being in a report. There has to be a legal reason my name is in a report. And what's really disturbing is I don't feel like any of you guys see how important this is, how really disturbing it is. You can't have police, rogue? I mean, they can't just decide, oh, I'm going to drive in the neighborhood because I heard something was going on over there. And then to clarify again, I wasn't in the area at all since like the end of September. So this makes absolutely no sense. There's no data to say there's 8 reports and there's no data. And I'm not getting an impression that any of you care. It's like, oh yeah, police can check up on our residents anytime they want. And it's like, no, they can't. You legally can't. And I want to know why. And you guys should want to know why too. And you also should hope that I'm the only one that it's happening to. And you should hope to investigate it and say, this is it. Please, this doesn't happen again. We are fixing it. We don't do this to our residents. Our residents should know that, yes, if they're doing something that's illegal, they will have police presence. But unless there is a legal reason, we leave our residents alone.
Sally, your initial question was why your name was in there. We asked, and there was not, they did not come up with an answer. No one could remember why. Your next question, does this warrant an internal investigation? I don't believe it does.
And that's what my comment was for, is that's disturbing. It's disturbing.
I understand. I appreciate your comment on it, and I heard your comment on it, and I appreciate it. I don't believe this situation warrants an internal investigation.
And why? I mean, are you okay that the police are just driving into the neighborhood to look at one person?
That
isn't what happened.
that isn't what happened. So,
How is that not what happened?
you've had your hand up, please.
Was there another party in those reports?
Yes.
Thank you.
And
It wasn't one person.
Okay.
yeah, it was the Dar Al Farouk
Yep.
building. So
Were they surveilling them, in your opinion?
no, my understanding from the email I got, it was generated because of them. If it was, there should be data behind that. They can't just go, Dar Al Farouk wants us to go look at sellers.
That's not what the report said. That's not what the report said. We all saw the report. It's not what it said.
And what did it say?
It said you and them, and they went to the neighborhood. Not to you, not to anybody else. They just went into
If
the
they
neighborhood.
go into the neighborhood, Dar Al Farouk wants us to check out the neighborhood. That's
That's
fine.
not what it said.
But that's not what it said. It said
Thank you.
because of Sally and Dar Al Farouk. And again, to clarify, I wasn't in the area after the end of September. So why was my name in a report in December and January?
So if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Just very quickly, let's wrap this up because we've.
To go on a ride along with the police, I would highly recommend it. Here's why. Because when you get to roll call, they are given data as part of turnover. And that turnover data includes these CADs that say, hey, we've been asked by command staff to do extra patrols in these areas for a variety of reasons. That could be because of previous complaints. Those complaints could have been from 3 or 4 months ago. They could have been from a year ago. We don't know. We don't have that data. They get those kinds of reports because they're asked to do additional community policing. That it happens at the Mall of America, it happens at Blooming Meadows, it happens on the east side, on the west side, for example. There were a rash of car break-ins in the at the big apartment building that's over by 106th Street.
Hamburger Hills.
Yes.
A legal reason.
No, it's not a legal reason.
That's a legal reason.
No, it's not.
Break-ins.
It's reports. It's reports of break-ins.
Legal reports of break-ins.
But they could be hearsay. It could be hearsay.
Yep, it could.
Don't have any evidence.
But there's no hearsay of illegal reports.
No,
There's nothing.
Council member.
Point is the call record is the exact same call record you're talking about.
And-
Where they went there because of this
And to
information.
clarify too,
And
you
you
said,
just don't like that answer, but I get
to
that.
clarify, you said there would be data. There would be data. You go to a roll call and there would be reasons why it would be on the CAD report. That is the
Yes,
data.
if you had been at that roll call 5 years ago, you would have heard the reason.
And the
for
roll call is
that.
printed
It's
out.
not, it's
I've received-
oral history.
I've received roll calls before. I have not received any for this.
It's an oral history, as
Councilmember?
far as I know. I've never seen a single.
And something that
Alessandro.
generates a roll call would be data. Somebody would have a report.
I just don't like the answer, Sally, and I feel bad that that's the case.
For instance, like you said, there's break-ins, there's data to back up why we're there. There were break-ins. So yes, you drive into the area.
There were reports of
And-
break-ins.
And then there were, and
Not the
then,
same.
and then to put someone's name in it, there were reports of break-ins and that
I
person
don't
was,
know, Mr. Mayor, if there's been any change to policy that we don't put first and last name of anybody in them anymore. Maybe that's been done. I don't
I don't know.
you do if they're actually doing
Sally?
something illegal.
Sally, we're at time.
Okay.
And I want to say again, Sally, your initial question was asked and it was answered that the police do not recall the specifics, the details. They don't recall that. Your second question, will we have an internal investigation? Unless I get an overwhelming response from the council here, I do not believe this merits an internal investigation. And I will look to the council now. Does anyone believe this merits an internal investigation?
think this is a misunderstanding.
So your two questions have been asked and they've been answered. Thank you. Andy.
I understand it quite well.
You guys want me to sign that or?
Yes, please.
Please.
That's out of ink here.
You have Ben?
I got it. It's going.
Enough?
All right.
Maybe that's it.
All right. Looks like. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a thing that I brought actually to the police chief and something a little more positive maybe on the police, but I put an email forth to the principal of Kennedy High School and to Chief Hodges about unsafe conditions that exist in the crosswalk at Kennedy High School, 98th and Nicollet. I drop my daughter off there like once a week, but what's happened is you've got kids crossing the street from Holiday and Burger King coming across, obviously not using the crosswalk, pretty much jaywalking. And you've got basically parents dropping off their kids in the middle of Nicollet Avenue. I'm talking just open doors with flowing traffic, kind of either way. So last week I observed good old police up there on the median, right, watching things. So I just wanted to say a thank you to the police in that regard, because I think you guys know that these have kind of become, and Hollenbeck over there, the principal, did put an talk to all the students, said don't do the jaywalking, right? But I think you guys kind of know around these crosswalks, it's kind of crazy how much traffic when you take a 2-lane, move one lane, it gets hectic, and the parents, you could probably email them all day long, and unless there's enforcement from traffic, and these are getting more dangerous, as you guys know, around these intersections at the school. So, but it looks like we've got some police there. So I just want to say thanks to the chief for actually following up and putting some law enforcement in place, on that matter. So some safety in the community, I guess, on that.
And I will say, Andy, and you saw the cones out there all fall. And that was to have the crossing, the safety island in the middle of the crossing. So
Right.
trying our best and trying to do different things to try and.
There's another intersection I wanted to mention. It's over on 86th and 12th, right? And they took a stoplight out there, right? And there's a 4-way in there. And I don't know if they're going to turn that into a roundabout at some point, but I see people blowing through that intersection, even though you've got the bright flags on the corner there in that intersection. That's kind of become a dangerous intersection. I think there's been some accidents over there. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but 86 and 12 is kind of Victor, you know what I'm talking about or no?
Traffic's
Kind of a little bit. What's that, Jamie?
Our traffic division's aware of it.
Yeah, I think they know, but yeah, they pulled out a full stoplight. So I don't know if roundabout in there, or I imagine it'll be a redesign at some point, kind of like a lot of communities are moving that to that kind of roundabout kind of model. So the other thing I wanted to bring forward, I wanted to ask Mr. Verbrugge, are you guys still using high performance organization, or was there like a little kerfuffle inside the city?
We haven't used that training for a couple of years.
Is there a reason that you guys pulled that out?
Moved away from it, we decided.
So you just didn't like it anymore, or what happened to it exactly?
We decided not to use it anymore.
Okay, so it's just not being utilized. Are you using another model to kind of organize the city at this time, or okay? Because I was kind of paying attention. Yeah, go ahead. Somebody. Oh,
Yeah, so, but I know it's not specific to the employee level, but we do have something on the agenda tonight in terms of our budgeting process and things like that, and how we look at performance on that.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and Council.
It's not like I don't think the city managers went, whatever.
No. So it's, Mr. Mayor and council members, different things. The priority-based budgeting was a different thing, what Mr. Sewell is talking about.
Yeah.
The high-performance organization model was the staff development and organizational change model that we were using for a number of years. We moved away from it a couple of years ago, like I said. So a lot of the principles are still in place, but we're not actively training staff.
You're not using that model anymore. You guys pulled it away or whatnot. So I was going to mention too, as here's Sally, I know she's been speaking at a number of meetings, but I know actually I have some friends that are actually personal police officers. Usually they keep pretty good detail on notes as far as surveillance. So could surveillance be launched on me without me knowing of it?
Yeah,
It's not
there's no
surveillance.
surveillance going
Yeah,
on.
that was not
Surveillance occurs in the course of an investigation.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
There's not surveillance going on.
So it's just kind of like coming in the neighborhood, driving in the neighborhood of the Darrow Peru.
What happens sometimes is that during roll call, the sergeants will request directed patrol in a given area.
Right.
And that's what was the case in this circumstance.
During that roll call, is that oftentimes is that just communicated to the people that are in that on that?
Exactly how it's
Is it
done.
kind of, it's verbally done.
Yeah.
So it
Exactly how
will
it's
go
done.
up in a data request.
Watch it yourself.
Right. Pretty much, yes. If I showed up there saying, hey, watch this, it's kind of a communications thing that wouldn't show up in a data request. Is that
I think if you
correct?
contacted the police department and requested to do a ride along,
Right.
I'd invite you to come to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So,
You can't just walk off the street and attend roll.
No.
boy, I hope my
Sign
neighbor,
a waiver to go on a drive.
Yep, you gotta.
I've got a friend that works at Minnetonka. He's a police officer, but it's definitely eye-opening when you do some ride-alongs, kind of see what
Amazing.
goes on,
They're fun.
behind the scenes. So it's
If I may also, police actually patrols, highway patrol, anybody on a cruiser practices running plates automatically. They don't have to have a reason. They just, a car in front of them happens to be there, run the plate just to, and to be honest, a lot of the big arrests that they have had is people that had warrants for a long period of time. That's how they have been busted. So it's normal for police to do that. They don't do it to bother you, but once somebody pulls, an officer pulls behind you, they're running your plate, and you know that automatically. It's quick. They move on. If you don't have any problems, they move on to the next one. It's normal.
Technology is now, as they drive down the street,
Yeah.
it's being read automatically.
Yep.
And if they get a hit, a light flashes.
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, they scan the plates automatically.
Automatic.
As they're driving, they're auto scanning, which is
Called Alpers.
nice.
Yep.
Yep. So
Video.
surveillance, but back to the deal, so basically like the police on their shift, they might talk verbally amongst each other and say, hey, we've got to keep an eye on this neighborhood, or whatever type deal like that.
Yeah.
There's not really,
At roll call or yeah.
so there's no real, doesn't really have to be a report if a follow-up on that is what you're saying. So yeah, no, anyway, I said traffic enforcement at Kennedy. I think the kids know not to, I said, it's just dangerous over there. So I just wanted to bring that to the council's attention. So.
Yeah. And, and it goes in cycles because we had the conversation about 6 months ago about speeding in front of Jefferson High School. It's the darndest thing. You give kids driver's license and give them a car. It's become dangerous. Yep.
I teach these 16 to 18-year-olds, so I kind of get they're crazy drivers, right? And some of these 16 to 8, they're dropping their brothers and sisters off at school, So it's like, but I don't know if you guys know this, but at Olson Middle, they put that turn lane in there, and I put a pretty good letter forward about that because they had some bad accidents over there too. But they actually put a turn lane in, so that I think that's helped out a little bit.
It has.
Still gets crazy over there.
We also have now the
beacons.
beacons and the school zone and everything. We're working as hard as we can, as fast as we can in all those areas on purpose.
And I think
My favorite school zone, because you go 30 and then you go 25 and then you go 30. 30, it's like,
Well-
there's a gap in between
Whatever
the two
it takes.
schools.
Oh, really?
And Kirk, our
He's gonna
traffic
fix that
engineer,
later.
no,
Oh.
he answered it very well.
Okay.
It's the distance between
Yeah, that's what you need.
and the different timing of the schools.
Oh, gotcha.
is this
Like, that makes sense.
Is this 25 mile, the speed limit? I know you guys have dropped the speed limit, right? But I'm driving Bloomington a lot, the kids in sports and all that, but it seems like nobody's really slowed down, they're still at 35.
I don't think
What's that?
that's the case.
Neighborhood.
I disagree with that. And I've talked to folks, I mean, anecdotally, I mean, I don't.
Is it going down a little bit or are you guys?
Me like people are slowing down.
Okay.
And I've heard that from other people as well. And I talked to Kirk Roberts about it
Right.
and who drives and bicycles a lot. So he
Right.
especially is attuned to it. And he also has the sense that, you know, without data to back it up, but just anecdotally and
Right.
feeling that people are slowing down.
Good. So,
Mhm.
especially around schools. I said, it seems like after COVID and you're seeing more and more people drive to the schools. So there's an increased amount of pressure, you know, kind of coming into the schools in general. So,
I drive around the community a lot and just anecdotal, of course, but I always peg myself right on top of the speed limit and there are not people blowing past me on the
right.
roads.
That's good.
It's really
Yeah.
steady.
I haven't been passed on 106th in the middle lane since we did it, so.
That's good.
Right.
I was passed by.
All right. Third time, Andy,
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
very quickly.
Our, the cards from the, yeah, I know you.
Oh, there's a
Is that
couple.
getting better?
Carts are
It
getting-
Seems like they're on top
I
of that.
think they're getting better. I mean, I still see a couple. You know, the cart patrol is whatever you guys are doing. Maybe they're picking them up more, or maybe they're. I like you brought that up.
Yeah. I thought you brought it up and we
We forgot about carts.
No, see, if you forgot about it, we're doing something right.
There must be.
That's
fewer
right.
Because I live over in that side of town.
That's right.
We're east.
So you brought it up for a long time and it
There-
seemed like a legitimate issue.
There are fewer of them, though. I'll say, you know, because I see a few here and there, but not. like
Okay,
the
because
ones-
we have a rotation on the council that we all have to sit out there and get those cards.
You guys are.
So I just want to end that.
You guys are pushing the carts.
It's Victor's turn.
Thank you, Andy. Thanks for stopping by this evening. Appreciate it. Councilmember.
Thank you. I had a resident contact me. This is totally on me that wasn't able to coordinate with her to be here tonight. It was about her property taxes. We're going to talk about that more, but she wanted to bring forth the message. She owns a modest townhome and her property taxes went up 28% this year. I think it's a situation that we've all been talking about for a long time, that our most affordable houses are getting impacted by increases in valuation. I will connect her with Mr. Bulger to go through that with her. She was also frustrated by the thing that I think we're all frustrated by, that you get your tax assessment in the spring and then you find out what that means in the fall. And I told her, you can't do anything until next spring. She did not like that answer. I don't like that answer. Totally agree with her, but that's the situation. And so I know because of my own fault, she wasn't able to connect with us this evening. And so I just want to bring that forward, her concerns and questions on that. I'll work with you, Jamie, to get her connected, to go.
Hopefully you reminded her that that timing sequence is state law, that it's not the city that determines that. So.
Oh, my bad. I told her as a city manager. No. I told her the state law. And I also told her that it is something that we continually talk about. I also told her that because of some of our former colleagues that were working on those issues in terms of the homestead tax credit, the property tax relief that automatically goes out to people without application, and explained how that's all working. But that timing glitch is still a weird one. And when we talk about legislative stuff, I would love to see a way that people could at least see what that's going to look like for them. Because I'm on Facebook, I see people that their property taxes are going down.
Mhm.
And then I talked to her and they're going up 28%. I'm like, I know what our levy is but it's not just that. So.
You're right.
One, if I may, Mr.
Member.
Comment on that, just my personal opinion is that if we could pick a legislative option that we could advocate for, I don't understand why the taxable amount of your property can't be indexed. I don't understand it. The volatility in the market right now should not be a reason that we all pay what we pay, and it could get capped. It could get capped. Not to increase 15% or not to increase 10% of your valuation. It could be done from a state tax perspective and not have impact. And I don't know why cities don't advocate more for that. If it was up to me, if I was king for a day, I would be asking for that.
I think that is actually currently, if it goes over 10%, then there's an additional property tax abatement from the state.
If you qualify. But at a certain point, you don't qualify.
I thought that was income independent.
I think it's kind of a circuit breaker that if you have an amount that's higher, I think you're right. I'll talk to Tim and see what we can.
I think that it has to be egregious, though, like 50%.
No, it's
No.
10. It's like 10.
I don't think so. I don't say what had happened to this lady, and it didn't happen to this lady. So tell me why. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
No, because it's a separate thing. The tax goes up, but you have to apply for the property.
yeah, I'm
tax
saying
rebate,
it's
and that's what
something you
Nathan's
have to
trying
do. You should just cap it.
Call Nathan. That's what he's
That-
working on.
I'm
That's what
asking
he
us
is.
to call Nathan as a body. That's exactly what I'm doing.
We get him on the phone?
Usually we wait for the.
I don't think it should be on us. It's a problem. Like,
I would entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. We will be downstairs. Thank you.
So moved now.
I like that second, he's in there first.
That was.
So.
I just, that second.
On the attorney
I tried.
Like, is it?
Just.
She moved the motion.
I second.
Tax refunds, like, anybody comes out, and waste his time and energy.
I was like, get us out of here.
And
But then that's, and then we don't get the money.